Folks, let's waiting for everybody to get connected here. Funny thing when you're trying to do a live broadcast, Facebook takes so long to load the broadcast that it doesn't actually tell you whether or not it's live. So go figure that one. All right, I think we're good to go, guys. Welcome back in. Sorry it took so long there. Had a couple quick calls I had to take care of for some customers who took the time to call me on the program, so I wanted to make sure that I got back with them as well. So you're listening to the After Schrock. This is the special little show that we do after Compute This, where we throw in anything that's going on in the news that we want to talk about that's not really either pertinent to computers directly or, I don't know, just anything you want to talk about, I guess. So, what do I have on the agenda? The SpaceX thing was amazing to watch yesterday. I don't know if you guys watched it, but the lovely Kimberly and I were sitting outside of the Papillion Service Center in the car, in the rain, on a smartphone, watching this launch. It was just amazing to see Americans going back into space on an American rocket from America, and and it worked. It worked beautifully. And it was so future. It's what science fiction says space travel is supposed to look like. It's like somebody took the Apollo mission and put like a glossy shine on it. The interior of the capsule was amazing. The camera views were amazing. Just if you didn't watch it, you can still go watch the archive Facebook Live video. Just watch it, and it will fill you with such a source of pride for your country, and the amazing things that entrepreneurs can achieve when they set their minds to it. Because Elon is a crazy guy. Like, there's a lot of brilliance there, and there's some crazy there. But man, you can't argue with the results. You just can't. Um, Amazing stuff there. So that's great. It was really very nice to see something positive and uplifting for a change on the news. It's been rough. It's I wonder like we're talking about some marketing and some things we're going to be doing next month, and I want to share a little bit of that with you in the aftershock today too. But I don't know this idea of back when things were normal. I think that would be a really nice marketing platform for a lot of reasons right now. So back when things were normal, um, there wasn't a coronavirus. And back when things were normal, you could go out and eat dinner. You could do all these things. You could go to a store and buy what you want to buy. You could do all these things. So I don't know. We're talking about that. We also got some revised quotes back from some of these media sources. It looks like if we're able to get what we're asking for, we're going to have a radio show in Kansas City coming soon, which is going to be awesome. The other thing is we're going to be. It was weird. We wanted to run some commercials on a radio station in Omaha called Boomer. I don't know if you know what Boomer is or if you've heard of Boomer, but they play a lot of the a lot of music that baby boomers grew up with primarily. So it's a good station, and it's an old school station, right? They have contests, they have remotes, you call in to win. It's all the stuff that I grew up with as far as radio goes. They're doing everything the old school way. They've got real DJs behind real microphones, spinning real tracks. I mean, it's a fun station to listen to. I'm not even a baby boomer. As Mustafa pointed out during the show, if you missed that, you gotta go back and watch that. I don't know if Facebook found that fake comment that quickly, if Mustafa thought twice about it after he posted the fake comment, or if you guys all reported his comment so quickly as being fake that Facebook yanked it. Literally, Facebook yanked that comment before I had time to write the reply. I typed the reply and I hit enter, and I was like, Mustafa, thanks for posting your comment. I'll be addressing this on the air shortly. Enter. And I was like, oh my God. As soon as I realized he wasn't a customer, I'm like, this is what we deal with fake reviews. If you go look at our Google review pages, I mean, there are a couple exceptions because, nobody is perfect. But if you look at any reviews that are not 4 or 5 star reviews, they're from people in Germany. Or like, I'm a local guide in Germany and I hate Schrock Innovations. Obviously, they were paid to put that review on our page. So I mean, it's nuts. It happens all the time, but never during a live broadcast before. That was pretty crazy. So that was interesting. All right, so good audio. Thank you, Winston. I appreciate it. Winston, the unofficial. Well, I'll just call him the official. Compute this. If I call him official, I have to pay him. The unofficial Compute This audio broadcast technician. Thank you for the report, Winston. I appreciate it. Good morning from Grand Island. Good morning, Mark. All right. Good morning from Lake of the Ozarks, Ronald. Oh, wow. That's cool. All right. Mitch is here. Top fan Mitch. Good to have you, bud. Keith, when did Ver 18? I don't know if you're voice texting and you've been drinking or, or what, but I don't understand that comment. Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Mary. Good to have you guys with us again. There we go, Keith. When did version 1909 come out? Well, the date code 1909. It was scheduled for release in 2019 September. I believe it didn't come out till October because they've been a month behind for like the last three updates. So it was October of 2019. All righty. Good morning from South Side Sioux City. Is that like a South Side, North Side? Is it like a rivalry, or is that just a geographic descriptor of Sioux City? I don't know. All right, yeah. So Boomer, yeah, that's right, Boomer. I was talking about Boomer. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate you keeping me on task. Still listening in Montana, Brian. Awesome. I want to go to Montana. So we're talking about. So we have a fifth wheel, right? Because I have a special needs daughter, and when we take her to a hotel room, it takes like 2 days in the hotel room for her to like norm out to the environment so she sleeps well. Otherwise, we don't sleep. So if we go on a long trip where we're staying in a hotel along the way, it's like we don't sleep the entire time. So we thought, let's get a fifth wheel. That way, she's got her own bed that she can sleep in. That is, hers to use. And that way, it's kind of the same environment. So we go through the 2 nights of bad sleep, and then we have sleep the rest of the time. But now the problem is we have this fifth wheel, and we're like, there's nowhere to go because of lockdowns. And the stuff that is open is only partially open. And let me tell you, taking a kid to like an RV campground where there's nothing to do is a recipe for a terrible, terrible experience. And so one of the things that actually some friends of my wife's on Facebook told her was that right now Yellowstone is open and it's completely empty. Like nobody is there. It's never this empty. These are people who go there all the time. It's never this empty. Don't go to Disney and wear your mask and go see Mickey. Come to Yellowstone. So we're like, maybe we should take a Yellowstone trip. I'm like, hey, I can do compute this live from the rig. We could do that. I put a little green screen behind me. Hi guys, it's here. We could do this. But anyway, so we're putting ads on Boomer, right? We did the when we did the big reopening of the Nebraska Economy event, where we did the free maintenance checkups. The only new media that we did in Omaha was on Boomer, and in Lincoln, we were on every single Alpha Media station. So Alpha Media owns KFOR, our flagship in Lincoln. Basically, we were on all of their other stations as well. So during that entire promotion, giving away maintenance checkups for free, of course, our customers took huge advantage of that, which is great. That's what it was intended to do. But we also had 60 brand new customers come in that have never been into a Schrock Innovations before to get their first experience at Schrock. And 20 of them were in Lincoln. And it was almost weird because it was split almost perfectly evenly. 20 in Lincoln, 21 in Papillion, and 20 in Omaha. But if you look at what we did, the marketing we spent in Lincoln and what we did in Omaha, the only thing we did different in Omaha was Boomer. And if you total up, if we would have only had one service center, Omaha would have had 40 new customers. So that means Boomer works. And so there's a lot of people listening to Boomer. So let's put some ads on Boomer, right? We're going to do this. So we put this proposal together, or we have Slate Advertising, who handles all of our media, say, hey, we want to get on Boomer, and they go to call Boomer, and they talk to Pat over there. They come back with a quote. And they say, well, we have this Founders Club deal thing where you can get 2 hours of radio on Boomer for whatever the price is. Now, I don't do a 2-hour show now, and I don't really want to do a second show every week. This takes a lot of prep time, guys, and it's a lot of energy to go for an hour. And I don't know how these radio guys like Limbaugh's going through cancer treatment, and he's doing 3 hours a day. And he'll tell you it's not easy. I've read some of his stuff that he's posted. He'll tell you it's not easy, but dang, Anyway, when you guys hear during the aftershock, my voice is starting to go. And it's like, whew. So we looked at Boomer, and I don't know. I mean, in the past, I know in Lincoln, we've had issues where one radio station has told us that if we put our show on the other competing radio station in town, even at a different time slot, that they will drop us. They will refuse our advertising business because they don't want the same programming. So it's kind of weird. We cross the boundary a little bit. So we pay to be on these stations, guys. That's one of the reasons why I have to sell products during the show. because we have to raise money to pay for the show, among other things. And of course, the work that everybody does at Schrock isn't free either. So we gotta pay the bills. But um, we never had two shows in the same market before, and the thought of Boomer wanting to have the show. We wouldn't replace KFAB. KFAB is the flag station. They're so good to us here. I mean, they let us use the studio. Whenever I want to cut a commercial, I can just come in. Scott's amazing. He does anything we need him to do. In fact, I was kind of like, the video's dropping out. I don't know why. I'm on a wired connection because Scott put in a ticket with iHeartMedia Engineering telling them that the jack in here isn't working on the wall, and they had it fixed in a week, which for a big company is pretty responsive. So anyway, we're on a wired connection today, so I'm like, I don't know why the video is dropping or the quality was looking awful during parts of the show today. I hate Facebook and their compression. We're thinking about trying to use a different streaming service called Restream as well, and we'll talk about that in a second as well. But anyway, yeah, so we're looking at possibly putting the show on Boomer. So if any of you are listening, if any of you listen to Boomer throughout the week, give us a shout out here so we know that you'd pick up the show there as well. It would be, of course, tape delayed, just like our show in Des Moines is, just like the show in Lincoln is. The OG Compute This show happens Sunday morning at 7 here on 1110 KFAB, and then it's sent out at the week tape delay to all the other stations, which is how it will be in Kansas City winter if we decide to sign for that one as well. All right, so good morning, Gail. Good to see you on the program. Dave, thanks for joining us from Trainer, Iowa. Awesome. Your unofficial audio engineer, Winston, and I got married yesterday. Maggie, you got married? Oh my gosh. That is awesome. I did a data recovery for Winston, and one of the things we were recovering was he had a very, very beautiful ring made for his wife. And it was very custom and very special. It had required special machinery and a trip, I think, overseas to get it done. And the pictures were saved, and the pictures got deleted or lost or damaged or something, and we recovered a bunch of the pictures for him. But that's awesome. Congratulations, Maggie and Winston. That's awesome. Thank you. Wait a minute. You got married yesterday, and you're on your honeymoon today, and you're listening to Compute This. I'm honored. Awesome. Alrighty, hey Zane, good to see you from Papio there. You can stream on YouTube. Yeah, Keith, we can. We can stream on YouTube. So here's the thing. There's a service called Restream. And what it does is it takes all of the disparate streaming services and unites them together. So one of the things I'm noticing, like on my screen right now, I am crystal clear, full HD. I am seeing myself at 1280 by 720, which is 720p, the lower end of HD, but HD nonetheless. My camera is a full HD camera, so it's capable of going all the way up. So this is a Facebook restriction. I'm watching on the other monitor of what I'm seeing over the internet, and I am seeing some pixelization whenever I move. I'm seeing colors shifting a little bit. It's definitely not an HD picture that you're getting. So why is that? Well, it's Facebook compressing the video. So what if you had the ability to go to whatever streaming service you chose to go to watch the show? Now, there's the service called Restream. So what happens is we stream to the Restream server, and then Restream restreams it to all the other servers simultaneously. So you can be live on Twitter, you can be live on Facebook, you can be live on YouTube, you can be live everywhere that you want to be live all at the same time. The challenge is the comments. Because on Facebook, at least during the commercial breaks, I can be pretty responsive to comments. I can jump in and answer things. If I was on 5 different platforms all at one time, I would have to have like a staff responding to comments as we go through the program. I just wouldn't be able to keep up. But I'm wondering if maybe that would give us a better stream quality. So some of you may have noticed the video we posted on Facebook when it was time to do your safe upgrade. That is my home studio. That's this home studio. The lovely Kimberly built that wall behind me. That's not a green screen. That's an actual physical wall behind me. But that she hand painted the Schrock logo on. Just incredibly talented. So I can if I record a message like I did that one in my home studio, you can see the difference in the quality. So if I record it and then post it, it is crisp and clean and clear. If I stream it, it's not. But streaming allows me to interact with you guys live, whereas posting doesn't. So like I wouldn't have been able to do the Mufasa thing today. That Mufasa bit was not planned part of the show, guys. Mufasa came out of nowhere and then disappeared into nowhere. That's pretty funny. But anyway, so yeah, we're trying to find a way to stream that will allow us to maintain our presence on Facebook. And I don't know if we use Restream, if Facebook will still knock the quality down like they're doing. And there's no setting I can change. There's nothing that I can do to improve that at all. But at least then we'd have side-by-side comparison. So if you were a video file and you wanted really good video, we could say go to YouTube. Or if you could say go to Vimeo. Or we could say go to Facebook. If you want to make sure you have the best social experience, go to Facebook. So there's a lot of different ways that we can cut this, but we're trying to figure it out. We tune in for the info, not so much to see how you look. Millennial beauty, my man. Oh, I put my eye cream on today. It was delightful. I am ready. Hashtag blessed, baby. I don't know. Typical millennial. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, the millennial thing is getting to the point now where the younger guys that come in we have job openings right now, and the guys who are applying for junior technicians, I don't know that you can technically call them millennials anymore because they were born like, I don't know, they're 18, 19 years old, so they were born, I guess, right after the turn. I don't know how, they're not really influenced by the culture of the 2000s because they weren't really aware of anything. Like Ryan today, for example. Yesterday, I stopped into the Papillion shop before we were watching out in the parking lot, and I was like, I got to get this done really quick. And Parker's like, oh, one more thing. And I'm like, no, I'm going to miss the launch. Fine, I'll get the memory ordered. Okay, I got to go. So I run out the door, and Ryan was like, well, what's going on that you're in such a rush? And I'm like, well, they're about to launch the rocket. And he's like, what rocket? Parker's like, oh, that's today? I'm like, yeah, they postponed to today. And I'm like, yeah, the rocket. It's a big deal, man. We're gonna launch Americans into space for the first time in, well, gosh, since like 2004, I think, since the space shuttle. This is amazing. And he just looks at me like, what? I'm like, yes. How old are you? And he tells me his age. I'm like, the last time that the United States launched people into space was when you were 6. It's time. This is a big deal. So anyway, we got out and watched it. It was pretty good. All righty. Winston, Maggie and I are true fans. Thank you for your fantastic data recovery team. They are the memory-saving ninjas. No worries, Winston. Those are some important pictures. We're glad we could get them back for you. All right, but at least you're not telling me that you don't tune in to look at me. Like, Thor, I turn it on, and I make sure I'm connected, and I get the volume set where I want, and then I put my phone face down on the table. Because, you know. Is it that I don't do Botox? I have wrinkles? Is that it? Do I need to? It's kind of funny. You can see some of these anchors on TV that haven't been able to go out and get their Botox injections, and you can see like the wrinkles starting to come back right here when they move their face. But this up here isn't moving at all, and so you can totally see like this is wearing off and this isn't. It's kind of funny. All right, what else do we got going on? We are moving forward at okay. So I have lots of ideas, guys. So in the last 48 hours, I've had not one but 2 separate business ideas. Both things that I could do at Schrock, both things that would require an immense amount of time, attention, planning, and execution, both of which are not going to get done right now because we're opening new service centers, and that requires an immense amount of time, attention, and execution. But for the sake of telling you guys, because you know what? How many of you have ever said in your life, if I just had that one good idea, oh man, I would run with that. Well, I'm going to give you 2 good ideas today, okay? Idea number 1. We are noticing something kind of disturbing at Schrock. When we are ordering parts, so for example, when you come into us with an HP Spectre laptop that has a cracked screen, you can just replace the digitizer, but it requires, let's just say, it's like taking the screen off of a Microsoft Surface without cracking it. It's virtually impossible to do. Whenever you have to replace a hard drive in a Surface, you're like, you got to buy a screen too. And they're like, why? Because when we take it out, it's going to crack. Well, why would it crack? Well, I thought you knew what you were doing. I'm telling you, you heat the thing up. Unless you're going to bake it in an oven, you got to heat it up, and you have to heat it perfectly evenly all the way around. And they put so much adhesive on it that no matter how careful you are, no matter how many suction cups you use, no matter how many guys you have, it's going to crack. And so it's kind of like that with touchscreen laptops as well. Sometimes you can get lucky on some models and just replace a digitizer that's cracked. Most of the time, you're replacing the entire lid assembly, hinges, backplate, screen, all as one unit. So we had an HP Spectre into the service center, and we tried to do just the digitizer, but there's a little rubber seal thing that goes around there that has the adhesive on it. It's stuck to the glass, and then when you try to take it off the glass, it rips. So we had to buy this rubber seal. It's a $20 rubber seal. Nobody has it anywhere in the United States. However, there are several of them in China that will be here by August 1st if we order now. Um, so that's weird, right? And then we're not talking like this was a part like you don't go to like HP.com part finder and order this on their part finder system. This is something that you get on eBay or Amazon. Somebody out there who has a business where they part down laptops into their component pieces and sell the component pieces individually. All the options were from China. And we're noticing now when we found out, so you play this game. Okay, here's the number on the unit. This is the part number. We find it here under one thing. If we search for, sometimes people list them under the part number, the proper part number. Sometimes there's a date code when you look at the back of a thing like it's obviously a date. It's a year, a 4-digit year, and a 2-digit month. So you type in the date code. Some people are stupid and they think that's a part number and they list it under a date code. Sometimes you have to enter the laptop model number and put like screen after it because people just list things weird. So when you're searching for these parts, I'm kind of the guy that ends up searching for them sometimes because if the guys can't find it, I'm like the savant guy that comes in and says, "Oh, let me think like a customer. Think like a person who's taking something apart. What are they going to type in? That's what they're going to look for. So look for that. Don't look for the technical thing. HP part number 0041.499 screen bezel internal seal. That's not what you're going to look for. You're going to look for rubber screen seal part or rubber screen part HP Spectre. That's what you're going to look for. And then you drill down and see if you can figure out if that's the right one you're looking for. Every single part that the guys had me ordering, whether it was batteries, DC jacks, just weird little one-off parts that we're only going to order one of, we don't want to carry them in inventory, they were all in China, guys. I had to dig and dig and dig to find ones in the United States. I don't know what's going on. So part of this could be coronavirus related. These parts that are on eBay and Amazon and everything like that, somebody has to take the laptop apart and test the parts and bag the parts and list the parts and ship the parts. If you're not at work, maybe that's what's going on. But right now, there is a huge opportunity in parts. All the parts are coming from China, and the thing about coming from China is you don't have to be price competitive right now. This is one instance where the tariffs work in your favor as a business owner. As a business owner, the tariffs do not work in your favor. It is ridiculous. I've got a bad piece of equipment. The only manufacturer of this Bitcoin miner that I have is in China. All Bitcoin manufacturers are in China. There is no way around that. There are none that exist outside of China that are worth anything. Yes, there are some that are reselling old junk, basically rebranded junk. But if you want to get the latest, greatest equipment, you have to buy it from China. So I buy the miner from China. I get the miner. It's part of a defective batch. It has problems. I need to send it back to China. I paid a 25% tariff on that miner when it came to me because I ordered it from China and its computer equipment. When I send it back to China, China is going to charge Bitmain a 25% import tariff because it's reciprocal. They're going to do it to us if we do it to them, which nobody really cares about in America because how much electronics are we really shipping to China? Oops, now there's a 25% tariff there. Then they're going to fix the miner and they're going to ship it back to me, where I will then pay another 25% tariff. So let me add up the 25% for you now. 25% coming, 25% going, 25% coming is 75%. Would it not be better for me just to buy a new one at full retail? It's only 25% more and at least it resets my warranty. I mean, man. So there is a disconnect happening right now because all the electronics that you guys recycle, some of them get recycled here domestically, but most of it goes overseas for recycling. Most of it does not get recycled here. Most of it goes to Asia, where they're not necessarily scrapping it and melting it down. They're pulling the individual computer component parts off and then reselling them. So here's the thing. We're living in a very volatile time right now. There is a supply chain disruption in effect right now that is impacting what you can get. You can see this at the grocery store. Go to Target and walk through the pool section. Walk through the bicycle section. Literally, I said to my wife, we were at Target yesterday. I'm like, what happened to all the bicycles? And she said, oh, honey, it's been like this since this whole COVID thing started. I'm like, my gosh, everybody went out and bought a bike. Wow. And I'm like, I guess, I've been to the store since this started, but I haven't actually, well, I haven't wandered the aisles aimlessly for things I'm not shopping for, or that I'm not looking for. And she goes, so you haven't shopped? I'm like, no. I just went and I got my dairy creamer and I got my bacon and I got my eggs and I left. Like I got what I came for and I left. That's how guys shop. I didn't wander through the bicycle aisle. I have a bicycle that I never ride now. Why do I need another one? So anyway, so first business idea is right now, scrapping recycled stuff is a gold mine. So if you have access to large amounts of scrap junk computers, taking them apart carefully and applying a service aspect to this, include the screws with it. Nobody ever includes the screws with the part you buy when it's a tear down thing. But I'm telling you, you always lose a screw and you have to dig around on the floor and try to find it. We have a whole bucket full of spare screws just in case we drop one and can't find it. I mean, include the screws with it. It doesn't cost you anything more. I understand if it's an Apple device, you're going to sell the screws separately because, yes, you pay for the screws for an Apple computer because they are proprietary. I get it, but other computers, come on, guys, sell the screws with it. Throw a little card in there that says you're supporting a family business so that people understand when they buy things from Amazon, it's not always buying from a giant faceless corporation, that you're supporting a local family business. This is something that you can do at home. This is something you could do without a warehouse. This is something you can do completely online. All you have to do is have access to junk computers to take apart. And it's one of those things. I've got the guys that can take the computers apart and bag the parts and do everything like that. Then I got to have someone to manage the listings and do everything else. And it honestly is not what we do. Is it something that we could do? Yeah. It's not what we do. We don't really do used. It's just not. It's not what we do. We take our stuff to the recycling facility. So if somebody wants a partner business where you take the stuff apart and sell it on eBay or Amazon and you just need a place to get the components, we're never going to let hard drives or customer data leave our service center under any circumstances. But if the actual computer component parts themselves, I'm not opposed to partnering with an entrepreneurial individual that would like to make some money doing something like that. So that's idea number one. Idea number two is a little more challenging. We are working right now on getting, I've told you about our prototype enclosures, right? And we are scrambling now. Guys, I think that this geopolitical situation with Asia is going to get rough. It's going to get really rough because Trump didn't do anything about the Hong Kong law, whatever. And because he didn't do anything, and I mean something dramatic, he didn't move an aircraft carrier. He didn't deploy troops to Taiwan. He didn't do an escalatory measure, which right now on one hand I appreciate because there's enough escalation and enough garbage flying around everywhere right now. We don't really need more, right? On the other hand, though, this is going to embolden China to do more, and this is going to lead to more problems. So it's not completely out of the question that we could see a severe supply chain disruption with China. My wife was at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something. We were at Michael's yesterday. And she said, well, still can't get paint, I guess, because, wow, that's out of stock because of COVID. And I picked up the paint jar expecting to see made in China on the label. And the label says made in the USA. And I thought, well, heck. And then it occurs to me, I wonder, because the paint chemicals are not made in the USA. So you import the chemicals from China, then you make the paint here. That's cool. They're making things here. But the key component ingredients aren't coming from here. How much of your product has to be made in America to say it's made in the USA? So like our computers, for example, none of the components are made in America in our desktop computers. Nobody makes them in America. There's nowhere to buy them from unless we want to become a manufacturer, which is again not what we do. That's what would have to happen. So when we buy our parts, like our modular enclosures or our new wireless keyboard and mouse sets that we're testing right now, what are some of the other things that we're doing? I want to get computer cases custom made for us. Of course, that's going to have to happen in Asia too. And I thought to myself, why? Why does that have to happen in Asia? Why can't we make it here? I'm going to find out exactly why. None of this, oh, it's too expensive, cost of labor, unions, blah, blah, blah. None of that. I want to know exactly why. So I called a plastics company here in Omaha. And Majors Plastics was kind enough to indulge my ignorance through an email discussion where I gave them one plastic part. This is a tray that we use in our Venture computer and our Holiday Specials computers that we use to mount a card reader inside the computer case. This is a part that I have to buy for $8 from China every computer we make. If I can make that part here with injection molding, I understand I'm going to have to make a lot of them, thousands of them, which will last me forever. But I can resell the extras on Amazon because they sell for $8 on Amazon. If I can make it here in America and I can make it for pennies, I will sell it on Amazon for less than the Chinese one, and we'll bring that business back to America. Yeehaw, roddy rah, let's do this. Yippee-ki-yay. So I call Major Plastics, and they say, well, the first step in the process is you have to make a mold. And I said, oh, okay. Well, this is just a simple plastic piece, right? So I sent him pictures, and he said, actually, Thor, this is a really complex simple plastic piece is like a child's coin, right? It's like injection molded. This has holes drilled in it and a finish on the front and two different polymers in use. This is a very complex injection mold. Oh, okay. Well, what does it cost to have the mold made? He said, domestically, it's going to cost you about $50,000 to have a mold made. For that one plastic part of that one part of one computer model that we make. 50 grand for the mold. Then the plastic can cost anywhere from 50 cents a pound up to $5 a pound, depending on the polymers you want to use. He says, I don't know how much each one of these pieces takes to make, but let's assume that each one is, let's say I can make 20 of them with a pound of plastic. That'll give you a rough idea for how much your cost per unit is going to be. Well, you do the math on that, and if I want to make 1,000 or even 10,000 units, the cost for me to make it in America is so much extraordinarily higher than it is. So then I thought, well, I wonder, I'm buying it through retail channels. I know it's made in China. So let me go find the manufacturer in China that owns the existing mold for this product and buy from them and find out how much it is. If I order them direct from China before the tariffs, they cost me 62 cents each. So if I build my mold in America and I injection mold my stuff and I do everything the way that to be competitive, yes, I can beat an $8 price. But when China says, oh, shoot, I guess we're going to have to trim our fat a little bit and drop the price down to $2, all of a sudden there's not a chance I can be competitive. Not a chance. Impossible. Okay. I don't like to be told things are impossible. I hate that. It eats at me. So for a week and a half, this has been like in the back of my brain, gnawing at me. And I thought to myself, why can't I 3D print it? 3D printing has come a long way. And I mean, I had like a little home use 3D printer, and it all had all kinds of problems and stuff all the time, warped prints, everything else. But the industrial ones that you buy for $10,000 that are 3D printers have heated build chambers. It's not a hot plate on the bottom. The whole chamber is heated, so things don't warp. Prints don't fail as much. I wonder. But of course, where do you get the plastic for the machine? Asia. So again, at what point is it made in America? But then the thing that I'm worried about, guys, is we're going to get to a point where we might not be able to get things from Asia, and if that happens, we're going to have to get American creative. We're going to have to get pretty innovative pretty quickly if we want to maintain the standard of living we've become used to. So business idea number 2 was I want to build an entirely 3D printed computer case that has all of the capabilities to snap mount everything. So a toolless assembly. So I'm thinking like 2 halves, like a shell that you put together, you slide the motherboard in. After you build the computer, you slide the motherboard in, you connect up the power supply, and you slide it all together, and it goes click. And then, of course, you're going to have the little USB ports on the front and the headphone jacks and everything. Those are circuit boards that you're going to have to purchase from Asia right now because there's just no way around it. But we get those parts from Asia. So now I can print the computer case. I can honestly say that 95%, 99% of what is going into this case is made in America. In fact, I can say it's made in the service center, made to order for each customer, printed individually. Would you like your name in the case? I can do that. Not engraving it, but actually printing it into the case. That would be phenomenal. So wouldn't that be cool, right? Well, let's see. You're going to need a machine with a large print bed, which means you're going to have an industrial printer because the 7-inch print beds aren't going to do it for a computer case. We don't want to print it in 7-inch pieces and Lego it together. I want to print like two halves of a whole. So that means I'm going to need an industrial printer, a $10,000 printer probably, like the one they have at DoSpace, if you've ever been over to DoSpace. The next thing is I need somebody who is incredibly gifted at 3D design. I don't have anyone on staff that can do that. I've designed a couple parts. I am not God's gift to 3D architectural designing. We're going to need someone who can print it, who can test it, who can machine it, who can perfect it. Then once it's done 3D printing, it doesn't come out looking like a beautiful end product. You still have to post-process it. So you still have to sand it, acetone bathe it. You still have to paint it. It has to be painted. So you need a paint booth now. I mean, it's not a small. And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, this went from let's buy a 3D printer to like, wow, I need an entire manufacturing facility really quick. So entrepreneurial idea there. There are cases online, open source cases you can get that are 3D printed. They're incredibly complicated. Each individual piece is printed individually. I'm talking about something that is designed specifically for what Schrock wants in a computer, that is printed to be toollessly assembled, that is printed to snap together and be sturdy enough that customers would enjoy it. It's not going to fall apart. And by popular customer request, it'd be great if it had a handle on top. So anyway, that's business idea number 2. 3D printing computer plastic components that you can't get anywhere else. Imagine that if we were able to print our own laptop unibodies. We could take an Asus laptop and not just replace the memory and the hard drive. We could replace the camera with a higher quality camera. We could replace the microphone with a higher quality microphone inside the lid. We could do some modifications that would blow your mind if we could print the plastic housing, because the plastic housing determines where everything lies. Every cable goes, the size of every microphone, how many microphones you have. You got to drill a hole in the thing if you want to put a second microphone in it. Well, that's not going to look good unless it was made to look that way. And if we could imagine you have a monitor, right? And you want to make an all-in-one computer out of it. Well, what if you could take the back off the monitor and print a new back that had space for a little computer in there? And all of a sudden you've got an all-in-one. And then you could turn around and make a back for every monitor out there and sell these backs online to other computer stores or hobbyists that want to turn their monitor into an all-in-one. I mean, wow, that's kind of a cool idea. I would like that project. That would be fun. Heck, we would probably repurpose those as the Schrock modular all-in-one. I could make a whole new product line out of that. But man, so anyway, let me get to these comments here. I've been ranting for a while, so let me see what you guys are all typing on here. Alrighty, still listening to Montana, Sioux City. Good morning from Milford Lake, Kansas. Good to talk with you, Gail. I imagine that, what's the name of the call letters of that? I sent them last week and I can't think of them now. But anyway, you'll be hearing us locally in the Kansas City region here soon. Good morning from Trainer. Let's see, I'm scrolling down still. It's mixed all the comments together. Yeah, I'm ugly. I got that one. Thanks, Brian. Boomer Radio coverage map shows that it only clips the northeast corner of Lincoln, nothing like KFAB. Oh, no, you're absolutely right, KJ. Boomer has like 5 different stations that they broadcast from on 5 different points in the dial. It's a scatter shot of a station. But it is the Omaha metro area. So that's what I'm saying. It covers Omaha alone, but it was a very effective station for us. Thank you, Mary, for my entertaining facial expressions. No, KFAB is not going anywhere. Absolutely right. I've ordered some mailing envelopes off eBay and a piece from a place in Ohio. It says shipped but shows delivery date of July, China. It's hard to say right now because definitely, I mean, the stuff that I was seeing online said ETA was between July 15th and July 31st. With stuff that was shipping from China. It could be, but I don't know, to be honest. It's hard to tell right now because the supply lanes are so messed up. So maybe they're going to be shipping the envelopes to you in July because they're waiting for their supply from China to arrive. then they're going to split that supply up into smaller increments and ship them out, or customize and print something custom on them and then send them to you. So that's what I'm saying. The supply chain, it's a chain. If any one link in the chain blows up, you're dead in the water. So even the idea of like what I'm talking about with printing computer cases or printing trays and things like that, where are you going to get the plastics from? Where do you think all the plastics in the world are made? Well, the cheap plastic, the affordable plastics that you can use for manufacturing are all made in Asia. So then I'm like, what if we had a device that we could take other plastic and melt it? Because there is a 3D printer out there that does it's a 3D color printer, which is weird. So it puts a layer of plastic down, and then it sprays like an inkjet on it, and then it puts another layer of plastic down, and it sprays another inkjet on it. So we could take plastics that are like black and brown and blue, and then we could smelt them together basically, and extrude them into something the printer could use. And then as we printed, we could spray it black to make sure it's all like the same nice even black. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just making this up in my head as I go, guys. But it's definitely an interesting challenge. 75 minutes on the 2014 holiday special laptop. Yep, including download time depending on your internet provider. That's about right. You would be building a modular computer. You're right, Keith. We would be, because like the designs online for the 3D cases. Here's your hard drive bay. Here's your case frame pieces. Here is your case side left, case side right, and they're all super microcomputers. So they're like basically intended to be media computers that you would use like a VCR or something like on an entertainment deck. The problem with that is that they're not modular. You can't expand in them. You can't upgrade them. They are what they are forever. And that's not really what we do at Schrock. Hey, Rich and Cheryl in Council Bluffs, how's it going? Does Boomer stream? Yes, they do, actually. I believe it's boomer.com. Let me double check. Maybe it's Boomer Radio. Let me check. Boomer Omaha. MyBoomerRadio.com. Music that makes you feel good. So right now, there's a listen live button on there. Right now, Steve Cassidy is your DJ on the air. Next will be Chaz Mixon. What are they listening live right now? Boomer Omaha, Boomer Blair, and Boomer Council Bluffs. They have 3 different feeds that you can click on to listen to. Right now, the Boomer Omaha feed is playing I'm a Believer. So there you go. All right, let me see. I think that's all the questions. I don't see any other new questions on here. Unless they're coming in out of order. So yeah, that's about it right now. Let me double check that. I'm going to click on this video here to expand it and double check all the way to the bottom. Guess the new mining operation in Nebraska is probably a good thing. Yes, a rare earth element mine, whether or not it's owned by Tony Fulton or not, which was just ridiculous. Oh my gosh. I know Tony. I personally know Tony. And Tony I've had lunch with him before, and I've been like, so Tony, I got this idea. Right. What if we did this, this, and this? He's like, Thor, you can't do that. I'm like, why not? He goes, because it's against the rules. I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was a rule about that. He goes, yep, there's a rule about that. Tony is a rule follower. He's one of the most ethical guys that I have ever known. This guy, to accuse Tony Fulton of having a vested interest in a rare earth mining plant that he's trying to nefariously use government connections to get this approved, my gosh, this would be a boom for Nebraska's economy. Now, then the thought occurs to me, and I'm sitting here thinking about this, like, what if we had a whole warehouse full of 3D printers and paint booths and things like that? What if we made a 21st century manufacturing facility right here in rural Nebraska? Not in the city, in rural Nebraska. Because there are hardworking people there. There's people who will paint things. There are people who will print things. There's people who know how to use computers in rural Nebraska. Believe it or not, they can even flush the toilet. It's amazing, right? But what if we did that? What if we could make things... See, the thing about 3D printers is, just like injection molding, the base printer part, it prints the piece. You can have 100 printers going at once, and you need one guy to monitor 100 printers. So, yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Where we could just... Here's 100 pieces, boom, plunk. Our capacity is 250 pieces a day. boop, plunk, they drop. The problem is the finishing. So they come out of the printer, they got to be sanded, they got to be touched, they got to be painted, whatever else. And I'm sure there's ways that we could achieve economies of scale. It's requiring a whole bunch of Elon-like thought. See, this is what happens when an entrepreneur watches another entrepreneur do something just amazing like that. You start to think, why not? Why can't we do that? Why can't we change the rules? Everybody else is changing the rules right now. I mean, I used to think the police were here to protect private property. Everybody else is changing the rules right now. So why can't I? Why can't we do something that no one else has been able to do before? Why not? Well, because I don't have enough time in the day to do it, guys. So if any of you out there own a large tract of rural land and a bunch of 3D printers and are interested in doing something like this, I would be happy to consult and provide you with feedback and a test platform in which to test your prints and designs. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So those are your two new big business ideas of the day, guys. If you want to become a millionaire, guess what? You got to work really hard. Or inherit it, I guess. All right, last call for questions, guys, before I get out of here. Last call for questions. Scroll down here a little bit, make sure I'm not missing any. Been listening, had a great experience with Papillion today. Thank you, Carolyn. I appreciate you coming in. Carolyn is one of our customers that when she calls, when she comes in, she has been with us for years. She's been with us ever since the Tai Chi. I don't know if you remember the holiday special that had 2 screens. It was a beautiful, beautiful laptop. The problem was when Windows 10 came out, they didn't support the dual screen experience anymore. And so it had a screen on the back, so when you closed it, it was a tablet, and when you opened it, it was a laptop. And so somebody, I'm not sure if it was you, Carolyn, but somebody actually recycled their old Tai Chi the other day because they were done with it. And the guys in the shop were looking at it, and I mean, Ryan was working on this thing because he wanted to find something that would run the dual screens. He tried Linux, he tried Windows 10. He couldn't bring himself to run Windows 8 because at 8.1 the dual screen doesn't work, but Windows 8 it does. And then Asus abandoned that model very quickly because there's literally nothing that you can do to get that second screen to work with the graphics driver that's available for it in Windows 10. That's just all there is to it. So anyway, good to see you on the show today, Carolyn. Thanks for joining us. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for the show today, guys. I appreciate you taking the time to listen. If you haven't purchased your copy of Safe Upgrade, it's not too late to do so. You can go grab a copy. Of course, if you have issues installing your Safe Upgrade, if you missed the message that it's time to go, now is the time to go and get that installed. So make sure you do get that going. If you have troubles, questions, problems, you can reach out to us at any of the 3 service centers. Feel free to call in. You can also email. You can also go to SchrockInnovations.com and you can click on the website chat. When we're open, the chat's available, and then you can chat with us actually over Facebook Messenger as well. So wherever you need help, however you need it, we're here to give it to you, and we appreciate you being a part of the program. I appreciate your reviews and your likes, your follows, and your shares. They mean the world to us, and we'll be here to see you again next Sunday for another edition of Compute This.